My today's project is this pretty French cabinet with a lot of beautiful details. The first coat is a graphite chalk paint with a dark bluish tone to it. I mixed a few different colors of the chalk paint to make this one. I will be using the paint without any texture to cover the crevices and the low points. To create a texture on the rest of the surface, I am using the same paint mixed with the sawdust. And I am applying it using dabbing technique, which creates even more texture. And covering the top of the cabinet with 2 coats of the graphite chalk paint mixed with the sawdust. And here it is after applying 2 coats and letting it completely dry. My next coat is mixing the old ochre and the dark egg blue chalk paint. I am using a white brush, applying both colors simultaneously. After spraying the surface with water, I am spreading it around with one of my favorite tools, the rubber window cleaner. I am going to show you how I did the sides, the front and the top separately. The sides are very plain and you can use this technique on any piece of furniture with no or little detail, whether the front has a lot of details. And I will be using the same technique but slightly differently. With the sea sponge, I am tidying up the corners. And here how it looks when it is dry. My next step is the honfleur chalk paint, diluted with water, about 2 parts of paint to 1 part of water. Again, I am spraying the paint with water and spreading it over the surface with the window cleaner. To get rid of the excesses, I am using a sea sponge. Then I am repeating the process until I am satisfied with the result. You can see here how the paint catches the high points I have created with the sawdust texture. I am not using too much of the paint, but rather making it runny with water and creating the darker and the lighter shades of brown. If you want to try to achieve this result, don't worry about spreading the paint evenly. It meant to look uneven. Now it is dry and ready for the next step. I am sanding ever so slightly the whole surface to make it smooth. And after I dusted it, I am applying the patina wax. The surface is smooth to touch, but the high points are still here, and they are catching the wax nicely. On the front of the piece, I am applying the old ochre and the dark egg blue chalk paint with a large brush again, covering the whole surface, spraying it with water and spreading over with my window cleaner. On the front, I use the sea sponge more often. It helps me to keep the dark paint inside the grooves and to cover the high points with the lighter colors. I am using the sponge the same way as I would use the brush. I am dipping it into both colors and spreading the colors randomly, mixing them. And here the surface is dry and ready for the next step, which is the honfleur chalk paint mixed with water, the way I did it on the side of the cabinet. I am applying the brown paint to the edges and inside the crevices, the parts I want to be darker. And after spraying with water, I am spreading the brown paint from the bottom to the top, leaving the bottom darker and getting less brown at the top. When I am using the sponge, I am turning it around, and this way I am picking the paint from some parts and adding it to the others. And when I need to add more shading, I dip the sponge into the paint slightly, as it immediately absorbs a lot of paint. The brush and the sponge are doing a fantastic job moving the paint around. Here, the brown layer is finished and dry. I have sanded the surface slightly and wiped the dust off. And now it is time to apply the patina wax. This patina wax I bought in the local DIY shop. As you remember, I have covered the top with 2 coats of my base color, using sawdust as a texture. Now I am spreading the honfleur chalk paint. I have tiny bit left on the bottom of the tin and I diluted it with water. Then spraying with water and spreading it around. You do not need much paint here, better if it is quite loose. After I let it dry, I am covering the top with the patina wax. The combination of the graphite, the brown chalk paint, and the patina wax gives the top a rusty metal look. And here it is ready. It fits nicely into the small corner on the landing in our house. I hope you enjoyed watching. And just to remind you, I am trying to upload a video first Friday of each month. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you again with my next fun project.